Before we jump into our service, there's one thing that I wanted to present to you. We did this last year, and I wanted to do this again. Today in one of our sessions, we had the opportunity to really process some difficult content. Like, what do you do when you want to kill yourself? What do you do when you want to make a permanent decision with a temporary problem? And it's one of the things that you and I have to recognize is that we need to make some very important decisions concerning our own lives. And I want to introduce to you a minister by the name of Dean Sikes, and he travels literally this country and abroad to deliver this message that you matter. Because at some point, we have to take a stand and say those important words. So if you would, please help me honor Dean Sikes.
Thank you. Thank you. What I'm going to share with you for a few minutes is something that have been doing now for 27 years, 2 months, and 2 days, longer than you've been alive. I am in school as much as you're in school. I'm just in a different school. Every week we go into high schools. We've now spoken at over 3,200 high schools across America and Australia, different parts of the world. And a number of years ago, an issue began to surface across America. And it got my attention because it began to surface in Christian schools across America where I was speaking. And that issue is suicide. A couple days ago, well, today, when we're doing this, it's Saturday, so it was yesterday, Friday. I got a phone call from a pastor. And he said, Dean, in our community, there's a local school here, a 13-year-old young lady hung herself last night. Now, this is serious stuff. What could be so bad at 12 or 13 years old that a young person would wrongly believe that their death would be a better choice than their life? And I can tell you from very personal experience of talking to literally tens of thousands of people your age who've come up to me after our assemblies and after our chapels, and they've shared with me what they got out of it. Every day in America alone, on average, watch this, 5,240 teenagers your age attempt suicide every day. In an arena that seats 12,000 people, that arena would fill up every 2.5 days with a young person who bought the lie in the previous 60 hours. And some of you I do this every day, so I see it on your faces. Some of you have the most uncomfortable looks on your faces right now because that pounding in the center of your chest that you're sensing, that's not my voice. That's the Spirit of God talking to you, saying, hey, listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about. I was at an Indian reservation, Native American Indian reservation, a couple days ago. A young man walked up to me, and he hands this to me. And it's a lighter. And I go, man, I don't smoke. He said, I don't either. He said, can I give it to you? And I was interested. I said, well, if you don't smoke, why do you carry a lighter? He said, oh, Mr. Dean, you don't understand. I always kind of smile and go, man, just call me Dean. That's fine. He said, you don't understand. He said, I use this to burn myself. And every single teenager with whom I've had the opportunity to talk with, listen to, and have them tell me their story, if they have been hurting themselves, harming themselves, cutting themselves, every single one of them, without fail, 100%, guaranteed say the same sentence to me: I hurt myself to release the pain. And that, my friend, is where the enemy has a lot of young people today. When I was your age, I didn't understand all this. I mean, at 15, I'd been sexually abused. At 17 years old, I failed PE. At 18 and 19 years old, I was going down a trail where arrogance and stupidity were colliding, and that's a dangerous place to live your life. And at 21 years old, I had an encounter with Jesus. Believe it, don't believe it, it's irrelevant to me. It happened. I share this literally with millions of teenagers. And the faces that I'm seeing tonight are the faces that I see, whether it's South Australia or South Africa or South Alabama. It's the same. I said, God, if you're real, prove it to me. I've been in church my entire life. All of my friends are Christians. We're all, good people, but I don't know you. And I feel stupid talking to the wind. And that day that I said, prove to me that you're real, 2 weeks later, in my office, I hear the audible voice of God say to me, call Mom. And I did so. And when I dialed my parents' number, my mother was attempting suicide. I'm going to tell you tonight, listen please. Some of you are going to hear the audible voice of God. And it's going to be a time stamp in the realm of the Spirit and in the realm of your life. And here's the question that I ask teenagers who are dealing with this issue. What does the enemy know about your future that he's petrified you're going to get there? The most unused potential anyone will ever have is when they're buried. The most unused potential on the planet is in a cemetery, because that's when it's too late. And ladies and gentlemen, and you realize I'm not talking with you as teenagers. I don't have time for that. My schedule is so busy, I don't have time to sit here and talk to you as kids. I've got to talk to you as people who have the ability to comprehend what I'm saying. Let's say you had died 2 weeks ago, we buried you. Let's say there's a grave marker. On that grave marker, there's your name, the date you were born, a dash, the date you died. Ladies and gentlemen, the dash is your life. You've got that much time to do what God's called you and equipped you and put you on this earth to successfully accomplish. When Solomon built the temple, the Bible says he successfully accomplished everything that came into his heart to do. So you can get the reality of this, or you can blow it off. When God spoke to me that day, I drove up Interstate 75 to a little place called Ottawa, Tennessee. And as I drove, I talked to this God I did not know. And I said, God, I can't save my mom, but you can. And I'll never forget driving into my parents' neighborhood. From the outside in, their home looked fine. It was safe, secure, probably like where you live. But from the inside out, my mom was dying. I see hundreds of thousands of people your age. From the outside in, you appear to have it all together. From the inside out, I wonder what's really going on. I stood right over there for the last 20 minutes, and I just watched you. I watched the insecure ones walk in going, if I can just get to my seat. I watched the confidence walk in going, like, I own this auditorium. Then there's always a third group. It's the guys watching the girls walk in. And they go like, they don't know we're watching. Of course they know you're watching. It's decision time. Every day that I do this, I stand on a stage and I begin to watch faces. I hope you were given a card. We call it the I Matter Pledge card. We're coming in now, at the time of this date, on almost 70,000 teenagers have signed this card. If you did not get a card when you walked in, just raise your hand. There's ushers. They'll hand you one real quickly. This card simply says, I choose to live and not end my life for 3 reasons. God created me as an original. God created me for purpose, and God created me to fulfill this purpose called my destiny. Created for a purpose, created for a relationship, created as an original. I tell teenagers, God had no need of your assistance getting into this thing called life. Conversely, he has no need of your help getting out of it. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, we got a phone call, and I went to a state. A 15-year-old young man had walked into the men's bathroom and shot and killed himself at a school. The next weekend, a 14-year-old young lady ended her life. The next weekend, a 12-year-old ended her life. And they said, would you please come talk to our kids? We don't know what to say to them. Tonight, as this night progresses, God's going to show up even more and more in your life. It's not by some happenstance that you're here tonight. You could be anywhere, and God put you here for a reason. I ask teenagers to sign it. It says, I matter, and it says signature. Why do I ask you to sign something? Because when you sign your name, especially as you get older, you take responsibility for something. When you sign your name to this card tonight, you're saying, Dean, I choose to live. I've been on so many stages where people have walked up and they've put stuff like this on a stage and said, will you take it? Razor blades, pencils. The other day, a young man handed me a Swiss Army knife. So I'm going to ask you, if you've got a pen or pencil right now in front of God and everybody, sign your name to this pledge. Why am I signing it? Because remember, God wrote a book. God's big on writing things down. Think about what you're writing. As you write your name, think about what you're actually saying. I choose to live because God created me as an original. God created me for purpose. And God created me for relationship. Job 33:4 is one of my favorite verses. It says, the Spirit of God made you, and the breath of the Almighty gave you life. You're not a mistake. Everybody got a card? Everybody signed your card? Pastor Kevin's getting ready to come. he'll have some instructions. We're going to ask you just to sign the card, tear the bottom portion off like so. Drop the bottom portion in the offering that's getting ready to come by you in a few minutes. On the back of the card that you now have in your hand are ways to communicate with our ministry. We do high schools. That's all I do. We never charge any school anything. There's ways to communicate directly with me on here. It comes direct. No one else sees it. It comes right to my personal email. I have written thousands of emails to teenagers across the country and around the world who said, hey, can we just talk? I'm asking you to sign that pledge right now. And when you do, know this. 3 things. God loves you. God's not mad at you. And because he loves you so very much, 2 words I will share with people, teenagers, the rest of my life.